How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a timeless self-help classic that focuses on building meaningful relationships and enhancing interpersonal skills. Originally published in 1936, the book remains relevant for its practical advice on how to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts, and influence others in a positive way. Carnegie emphasizes the importance of understanding human nature and using empathy, kindness, and genuine interest in others to create lasting connections. Through anecdotes, real-life examples, and thoughtful insights, the book illustrates how small changes in behavior and attitude can have a profound impact on personal and professional relationships. The book is divided into sections that explore how to make people like you, win others to your way of thinking, and be a leader without causing resentment. Carnegie highlights the value of active listening, offering sincere appreciation, avoiding criticism, and addressing people's needs and desires. A practical guide for anyone seeking personal growth, improved communication, or leadership skills. How to Win Friends and Influence People is a must-read for cultivating trust, building rapport, and achieving success in various aspects of life. Chapter 1. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. This chapter focuses on the detrimental effects of criticism and the importance of understanding and empathy in dealing with people. Dale Carnegie explains that criticism often leads to resentment and rarely brings about positive change. People naturally seek to justify their actions, and criticism can make them defensive rather than receptive to feedback. Carnegie emphasizes that instead of condemning others, we should strive to understand their behavior. By putting ourselves in their shoes and considering their motivations, we can approach situations with compassion and tolerance. The chapter encourages readers to replace criticism with appreciation and constructive communication, fostering better relationships and a more harmonious environment. Through examples and anecdotes, Carnegie demonstrates that understanding human nature and avoiding unnecessary negativity are key to successful interactions. This principle forms the foundation for creating positive and productive connections with others. Chapter 2. The Big Secret of Dealing with People. In this chapter, Dale Carnegie emphasizes the profound impact of offering sincere appreciation. He explains that one of the deepest human desires is the need to feel important and valued. People are motivated and uplifted when their efforts and qualities are genuinely recognized. Carnegie distinguishes between flattery and sincere appreciation, cautioning that flattery is insincere and self-serving, while genuine appreciation is heartfelt and meaningful. He illustrates this principle through real-life examples, showing how simple acts of acknowledging someone's contributions or strengths can build goodwill and strengthen relationships. The key takeaway from this chapter is that by focusing on what people do well and expressing authentic gratitude, we can create a positive influence in their lives, while also fostering mutual respect and cooperation. Genuine appreciation is a powerful tool for improving personal and professional interactions. Chapter 3 of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie emphasizes the power of arousing a genuine desire in others to achieve your goals. Carnegie explains that people are primarily motivated by their own interests and aspirations. To effectively connect with others, you need to align your requests, suggestions, or interactions with what the other person truly desires. The chapter delves into understanding human nature and highlights the importance of empathy and active listening. Instead of focusing on what you want, the key is to think from the perspective of the other person. By identifying their needs and showing how they can benefit, you create a mutually beneficial relationship. Carnegie uses real-life anecdotes to illustrate how influential individuals, from business leaders to historical figures, have achieved success by making others feel important and valued. The principle encourages readers to cultivate genuine interest in others' thoughts and feelings, which leads to better communication, cooperation, and stronger relationships. Chapter 4 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes the importance of genuinely appreciating others. Dale Carnegie explains that one of the most effective ways to build strong relationships and win people over is by offering sincere and honest appreciation. Everyone craves recognition and validation, and fulfilling this basic human need can help you connect with people on a deeper level. Carnegie stresses that appreciation should not be confused with flattery, which is insincere and often transparent. True appreciation comes from genuinely recognizing and acknowledging the efforts, qualities, or achievements of others. He suggests that even a small act of acknowledging someone's work or character can create goodwill and foster positive relationships. Through examples and stories, the chapter illustrates how leaders and influential individuals have used genuine appreciation to motivate and inspire others, improve workplace dynamics, and resolve conflicts. By focusing on the positive aspects of people and expressing gratitude, you can create an environment of mutual respect and cooperation. Chapter 5 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on the importance of capturing and maintaining people's attention by speaking in terms of their interests. Dale Carnegie explains that to influence others effectively, you need to shift your focus from what you want to what they care about most. People are naturally drawn to discussions that align with their passions, goals, and concerns. The chapter emphasizes the value of doing your homework about the person or group you wish to engage with. Understanding their perspective and priorities allows you to tailor your approach in a way that resonates with them. Carnegie illustrates this concept with stories of individuals who succeeded by aligning their objectives with the needs or desires of others. By focusing on what matters to the other person and showing genuine enthusiasm for their interests, you create rapport, foster trust, and open the door to meaningful collaboration. This principle reinforces the idea that influence begins with empathy and an outward focus, rather than self-centered intentions. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary. Chapter 6 of How to Win Friends and Influence People highlights the importance of making people feel valued by showing genuine interest in them. Dale Carnegie explains that one of the most powerful ways to connect with others is by making them feel important. Humans have an innate desire to be recognized and appreciated, and fulfilling this need can strengthen relationships and build trust. The chapter encourages readers to approach interactions with sincerity, avoiding manipulative or insincere gestures. Carnegie illustrates the power of simple acts, such as remembering someone's name, acknowledging their contributions, or taking an interest in their stories. These small but meaningful actions create a sense of respect and goodwill. Through anecdotes and examples, Carnegie demonstrates how influential leaders and individuals have achieved remarkable success by making others feel valued. The principle reinforces that genuine kindness and respect are foundational to winning people's hearts and fostering long-lasting relationships. Chapter 7 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes the importance of genuinely listening to others to build strong and meaningful relationships. Dale Carnegie explains that people feel valued and appreciated when someone takes the time to listen to them attentively. By being a good listener, you create an environment where others feel comfortable opening up and sharing their thoughts. The chapter highlights that listening is not just about hearing words but also about understanding the emotions and intentions behind them. Carnegie advises avoiding interruptions, judgments, or offering unsolicited advice. Instead, focus on showing genuine curiosity and empathy during conversations. Through real-life examples, the chapter demonstrates how listening can resolve conflicts, build trust, and foster deeper connections. Carnegie illustrates that making others feel heard and understood is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to win their goodwill. It's a reminder that listening is a gift you give to others and a cornerstone of effective communication. Chapter 8 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on the importance of discussing topics that genuinely interest the other person. Dale Carnegie explains that people are naturally drawn to conversations about their passions, achievements, or areas of expertise. To build stronger relationships and make a positive impression, you should focus on what excites and matters to them, rather than prioritizing your own interests. The chapter encourages readers to develop curiosity and a willingness to explore subjects they may not be familiar with. Showing genuine enthusiasm for someone else's interests fosters a sense of connection and mutual respect. Carnegie shares examples of how influential individuals have successfully won others over by engaging them on topics they care about most. By taking the time to understand and appreciate what motivates others, you demonstrate empathy and create opportunities for meaningful interactions. This principle underscores that the key to influence lies in shifting the focus from yourself to the other person. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary. Chapter 9 of How to Win Friends and Influence People highlights the value of making others feel important and appreciated through sincerity. Dale Carnegie emphasizes that one of the most fundamental human desires is the need to feel significant and valued. By recognizing this need in others and fulfilling it genuinely, you can foster goodwill and build strong relationships. Carnegie explains that simple gestures, such as acknowledging someone's contributions, complimenting their qualities, or showing gratitude, can make a significant impact. However, he warns against insincere flattery, as it can often be detected and lead to mistrust. True appreciation must come from the heart, based on an honest recognition of the other person's worth. The chapter illustrates through examples how successful leaders and influential figures have used this principle to inspire loyalty, resolve conflicts, and win the cooperation of others. It reinforces the idea that by making people feel valued, you not only enhance their sense of self-worth but also strengthen your connection with them. Chapter 10 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes the principle that avoiding arguments is one of the most effective ways to maintain positive relationships. Dale Carnegie explains that even if you win an argument, you may still lose the goodwill and respect of the other person. People rarely change their minds after a heated debate. Instead, arguments often lead to resentment and defensiveness. Carnegie encourages readers to approach disagreements with tact, patience, and understanding rather than confrontation. By listening to the other person's perspective, showing respect for their opinions, and avoiding criticism, you create an environment where productive discussions can take place. He stresses that it's better to seek common ground and focus on solutions rather than proving who is right. Through real-life stories, the chapter illustrates how choosing harmony over conflict can lead to stronger, more cooperative relationships. The key takeaway is that diplomacy and understanding are far more powerful than arguments in influencing others and fostering mutual respect. Chapter 11 of How to Win Friends and Influence People highlights the importance of respecting others' opinions and avoiding direct criticism or contradiction. Dale Carnegie explains that telling someone they are wrong, even if they are, often leads to defensiveness and resistance. People are more likely to hold on to their views if they feel attacked or belittled. Instead of outright disagreeing, Carnegie suggests handling disagreements tactfully by acknowledging the other person's perspective and finding common ground. A humble and respectful approach, such as saying, "I may be wrong, let's examine the facts together," opens the door to productive dialogue and cooperation. This method helps preserve the other person's dignity and keeps the discussion constructive. The chapter uses examples to show how influential individuals have achieved their goals by respecting differing opinions and fostering an atmosphere of collaboration. It underscores the importance of empathy, humility, and a willingness to see things from the other person's point of view in resolving conflicts and strengthening relationships. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary. Chapter 12 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes the importance of admitting your mistakes quickly and honestly. Dale Carnegie explains that when you acknowledge your errors openly, you disarm criticism, earn respect, and build trust. Instead of becoming defensive or making excuses, taking responsibility for your actions demonstrates integrity and maturity. Carnegie highlights that people are more forgiving and cooperative when they see someone take accountability without hesitation. Admitting mistakes also shifts the focus away from blame and toward finding solutions. By being humble and proactive, you can turn a potentially negative situation into an opportunity to strengthen relationships and foster goodwill. Through real-life examples, the chapter illustrates how successful individuals have used this principle to maintain credibility and resolve conflicts effectively. Carnegie reminds readers that everyone makes mistakes, but how you handle them defines your character and determines the quality of your interactions with others. Chapter 13 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes the importance of allowing others to save face. Dale Carnegie explains that when someone makes a mistake or behaves in a way that might be embarrassing, it's crucial to help them preserve their dignity. Publicly humiliating or pointing out someone's flaws can lead to resentment and damage relationships. Instead, Carnegie suggests finding ways to offer correction or guidance that lets the person feel respected and unashamed. He advocates for subtlety in addressing mistakes, giving constructive feedback in private, and offering praise before any suggestions for improvement. The goal is to ensure the person doesn't feel threatened or belittled, thus preserving their self-esteem. Through various examples, Carnegie illustrates how successful leaders and individuals have used this principle to maintain harmony and foster cooperative relationships. By helping others save face, you build trust and goodwill, which in turn makes it easier to influence and work with them. Chapter 14 of How to Win Friends and Influence People discusses the power of encouraging others to talk about themselves. Dale Carnegie emphasizes that people enjoy discussing their own experiences, ideas, and opinions. By letting others speak about what matters most to them, you make them feel valued and respected, which strengthens your relationship with them. Carnegie explains that the key to influencing others is to show genuine interest in their lives and listen attentively. People are naturally drawn to those who take the time to understand their perspective and who actively engage in conversations about their passions and interests. This creates a sense of connection and trust, which can lead to greater cooperation and positive outcomes. The chapter highlights how influential leaders and successful individuals have used this technique to win others over. By encouraging people to share their stories, you can foster an environment of openness and mutual respect, making it easier to influence and connect with them. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary. Chapter 16 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on the importance of making the other person feel important and doing so sincerely. Dale Carnegie emphasizes that one of the most powerful ways to influence others is by showing them genuine appreciation and recognition. People have a deep-seated need to feel valued and significant, and acknowledging their importance can foster goodwill and cooperation. Carnegie explains that this need for recognition is universal, and it applies not only to grand achievements but also to small, everyday actions. The key is to make the recognition sincere, not exaggerated or superficial. A simple, heartfelt compliment or a small gesture of appreciation can go a long way in building strong relationships. The chapter provides examples of how influential figures have used this principle to motivate others and create positive connections. By consistently making people feel important, you build trust and loyalty, paving the way for success in both personal and professional relationships. Chapter 17 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on talking in terms of the other person's interests. Dale Carnegie explains that to gain the cooperation and respect of others, it's crucial to frame your ideas or requests in a way that resonates with their needs and desires. Rather than focusing on your own goals, successful communication involves understanding the other person's viewpoint and aligning your approach with their interests. Carnegie emphasizes that when you present your thoughts in terms of what benefits the other person or appeals to their priorities, they are far more likely to respond positively. This approach builds rapport and shows that you care about their perspective, which fosters goodwill and strengthens relationships. Through various examples, Carnegie demonstrates how effective leaders and influential people have gained support and influenced others by speaking to their interests, which creates an atmosphere of mutual respect and cooperation. Chapter 18 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes the importance of driving home your point by appealing to the other person's desires. Dale Carnegie suggests that to persuade and influence others, you must understand their deepest needs, interests, and desires, and present your ideas in a way that fulfills them. People are more likely to be motivated by what they personally value, rather than by what you value. Carnegie stresses that, instead of focusing on your own perspective, it's crucial to phrase your requests and proposals in terms that reflect the other person's goals. By framing your message as something that aligns with their desires, you make it easier for them to agree and act in your favor. The chapter uses examples to show how effective leaders and negotiators have succeeded by appealing to the desires of others, ultimately achieving better outcomes for both parties. Carnegie's advice underscores the importance of empathy and understanding in communication. By considering what the other person wants, you not only gain their cooperation but also build stronger, more meaningful relationships. Chapter 19 of How to Win Friends and Influence People is about appealing to the nobler motives. Dale Carnegie explains that one of the most effective ways to persuade others is to appeal to their higher values, ideals, and aspirations. People often respond positively when they are inspired by a sense of honor, responsibility, or duty. By framing your message in a way that aligns with these noble motives, you tap into their sense of self-respect and their desire to act in ways that are aligned with their higher principles. Carnegie stresses that the best leaders and influencers are those who don't just appeal to selfish interests but to what people consider virtuous or honorable. When you make others feel that their actions are in alignment with their higher values, they are more likely to respond favorably to your suggestions. Through anecdotes, Carnegie shows how individuals who inspired others by appealing to their nobler motives were able to motivate them to act in positive ways. The chapter teaches that by recognizing and speaking to the inner values of others, you can gain their trust and influence their decisions in meaningful ways. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary. Chapter 20 of How to Win Friends and Influence People is about dramatizing your ideas. Dale Carnegie explains that people are often more moved by vivid, exciting presentations than by dry facts or straightforward logic. To capture attention and spark interest, it's important to present your ideas in a way that engages emotions and imagination. Carnegie suggests using stories, vivid illustrations, and compelling examples to make your point stand out and stick in the minds of your audience. When ideas are dramatized, they become more memorable and impactful, creating a stronger connection with the listener. The chapter uses examples from history and business to show how influential individuals have successfully used drama and emotion to communicate their ideas effectively. Carnegie emphasizes that while being factual is important, adding enthusiasm and passion can make your message resonate more deeply with others. This principle encourages readers to think creatively about how they present their ideas to ensure they are engaging and persuasive. Chapter 21 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on making the other person feel important, and doing so sincerely. Dale Carnegie argues that one of the most effective ways to build positive relationships and influence others is by showing genuine appreciation and making them feel valued. Carnegie explains that people have a deep desire to feel important, and the best way to satisfy this need is through sincere recognition. It's not enough to simply offer compliments, they must be heartfelt and specific to the person's contributions, character, or qualities. By acknowledging the other person's worth, you not only make them feel good about themselves but also strengthen the bond between you. Through examples from various leaders and influential people, Carnegie illustrates how this principle can be applied to create lasting connections, win people over, and achieve mutual success. He stresses that making others feel important isn't just about flattering them, but about recognizing and valuing their unique contributions in an authentic way. Chapter 22 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on throwing down a challenge to motivate others. Dale Carnegie explains that people are often more motivated by challenges than by mere encouragement or requests. When you present a task or goal as a challenge, it taps into their competitive spirit and desire to prove themselves. Carnegie suggests that, instead of simply asking people to do something, you can frame it in a way that invites them to rise to the occasion. By making the task seem like a challenge, you inspire enthusiasm and a sense of personal achievement. This approach can be particularly effective in motivating people to take on difficult tasks or improve their performance. The chapter uses examples to show how leaders, coaches, and managers have successfully employed challenges to motivate others, boost morale, and achieve great results. Carnegie highlights that a well-placed challenge can encourage others to exceed their expectations, while also strengthening relationships and fostering a sense of collaboration and accomplishment. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary. Chapter 23 of How to Win Friends and Influence People discusses the power of appealing to the other person's self-interest. Dale Carnegie explains that the most effective way to persuade someone is by showing how your idea, request, or suggestion benefits them. People are naturally driven by self-interest, so when you can frame your proposal in a way that aligns with their desires or goals, they are far more likely to respond positively. Carnegie emphasizes that to influence others, you need to understand what they value or want, and present your ideas in a way that appeals directly to their needs or desires. This method creates a win-win situation where both parties feel they gain something valuable. The chapter provides examples of how successful individuals have used this principle to achieve their objectives by considering the other person's perspective and focusing on mutual benefits. Carnegie's advice underscores the importance of empathy and strategic thinking in influencing others effectively and maintaining strong, positive relationships. Chapter 24 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on creating a sense of urgency and importance in motivating others to take action. Dale Carnegie explains that one of the most effective ways to inspire others to act is to make them feel that the task at hand is crucial and time-sensitive. People are more likely to respond when they perceive that there is a pressing need or opportunity. Carnegie suggests that, rather than simply asking someone to do something, you should emphasize why it is important and why it needs to be done now. This sense of urgency encourages people to prioritize the task and act promptly. The chapter uses examples to demonstrate how leaders, businesspeople, and individuals have motivated others by presenting tasks in a way that highlights their significance and timeliness. Carnegie stresses that when you frame a situation as one that requires immediate attention, you tap into the other person's sense of responsibility and eagerness to rise to the occasion. Chapter 25 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes the importance of making the other person feel that the task is easy. Dale Carnegie explains that people are more likely to take on and succeed in a task if they believe it is achievable. By presenting challenges as simple or within the person's capabilities, you motivate them to take action without feeling overwhelmed. Carnegie suggests that instead of focusing on the difficulties of a task, you should highlight the ease and manageability of the situation. This approach helps to boost the other person's confidence and reduces any fear of failure. By framing the task positively and showing belief in their ability, you inspire others to act with enthusiasm and a sense of accomplishment. The chapter provides examples of how leaders and managers have effectively used this technique to encourage others and get results. Carnegie's advice emphasizes the power of positive reinforcement and confidence building in influencing and motivating others. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary. Chapter 26 of How to Win Friends and Influence People discusses giving the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Dale Carnegie explains that one of the most powerful ways to inspire positive behavior in others is by showing them that you believe in their potential and qualities. When you give someone a reputation for excellence or character, they are often motivated to live up to it. Carnegie suggests that you should praise and highlight the positive qualities of others in a way that encourages them to maintain or even improve their standards. By recognizing their strengths and potential, you build their self-esteem and inspire them to continue striving for success. Through examples and stories, Carnegie illustrates how successful leaders have used this technique to encourage better performance and greater cooperation. When people feel that others believe in their abilities, they are more likely to act in ways that confirm those positive expectations, thus strengthening relationships and fostering mutual respect. Chapter 27 of How to Win Friends and Influence People emphasizes making the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. Dale Carnegie explains that in order to influence others effectively, you need to present your requests or ideas in a way that makes the other person feel good about acting on them. Instead of simply asking someone to do something, you should help them see the benefits or positive outcomes for themselves. Carnegie suggests that by aligning the request with the other person's desires, interests, or goals, you make it more appealing and motivate them to take action willingly. He encourages focusing on what the other person will gain from the action, whether it's personal satisfaction, a sense of accomplishment, or aligning with their values. The chapter offers examples of how leaders and influencers have successfully used this approach to motivate people to take action enthusiastically. Carnegie's advice highlights that by framing your ideas in a way that makes others feel good about fulfilling your request, you can achieve better results while fostering stronger, more positive relationships. Chapter 28 of How to Win Friends and Influence People focuses on a simple, but profound principle: give the other person a way to correct their mistakes indirectly. Dale Carnegie explains that one of the most effective ways to guide someone away from errors or bad habits is by allowing them the opportunity to correct themselves without feeling humiliated. Rather than criticizing or confronting someone directly, Carnegie suggests leading the person to recognize their mistake by asking gentle, thought-provoking questions or presenting the situation in a way that invites them to reflect on it. By providing them the space to self-correct, you maintain their dignity and foster a cooperative, respectful environment. The chapter highlights how influential leaders have used this subtle yet powerful approach to encourage positive changes in others. Instead of damaging relationships through direct confrontation, Carnegie's technique encourages self-awareness and respect, leading to better outcomes and improved interactions. This approach helps the person feel empowered rather than defensive, strengthening the bond between both parties. Chapter 29 of How to Win Friends and Influence People highlights the power of allowing the other person to feel that the idea is theirs. Dale Carnegie explains that people are more likely to take action and support an idea when they believe it is their own. When you present your idea in a way that makes the other person feel responsible for it, they are more likely to embrace it enthusiastically and follow through with it. Carnegie suggests that rather than imposing your thoughts or ideas directly, you should subtly guide the conversation and let the other person come to the conclusion on their own. By involving them in the process and asking questions that lead them to your point of view, you make them feel as though they have contributed to the idea. This increases their commitment to it and strengthens the relationship between both parties. The chapter provides examples of how influential individuals have used this technique to gain support and achieve results. Carnegie emphasizes that this approach creates a sense of ownership and pride in the other person, which ultimately leads to greater cooperation and success. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel For new summary. Chapter 30 of How to Win Friends and Influence People is about making the other person feel important, and doing so sincerely. Dale Carnegie underscores that one of the most effective ways to win friends and influence others is by showing genuine appreciation for their efforts, qualities, and individuality. People have an inherent need to feel valued and respected, and when you sincerely acknowledge their worth, you strengthen your relationship with them. Carnegie explains that praise should be specific and heartfelt. It should focus on the person's unique contributions, character, or skills. Offering insincere or generalized compliments can be seen as manipulative, so it's crucial to make the recognition authentic. By making others feel important, you create goodwill and encourage positive interactions. Through examples of influential people and their successes, Carnegie shows how this principle helps foster deeper connections, loyalty, and cooperation. The chapter reinforces the idea that making someone feel important doesn't just benefit the individual, it builds mutual respect and trust, enhancing the quality of relationships. The conclusion of How to Win Friends and Influence People brings together the core principles outlined throughout the book, reinforcing the idea that the key to successful relationships and influence lies in genuine care for others, empathy, and effective communication. Dale Carnegie emphasizes that, by applying the principles of kindness, understanding, and sincere appreciation, anyone can improve their relationships, inspire others, and achieve personal and professional success. Carnegie's advice is rooted in the belief that people are motivated by their emotions, desires, and need for recognition. The book highlights how, by focusing on the other person's needs and interests, you can foster goodwill, trust, and cooperation. He stresses that the most influential individuals are those who genuinely listen, show respect, and treat others with kindness, rather than seeking power or control. In the end, Carnegie reminds readers that the principles he presents are not manipulative tactics but ways to form authentic and mutually beneficial relationships. By practicing these methods consistently, anyone can enhance their ability to influence others positively, build strong connections, and navigate the complexities of social interactions with grace and success. Please subscribe Audiobook World channel for new summary.